So, Michelle, exciting. You know, we started doing this thing earlier in the year. We had to take a little pause for a little while. My voice was not the best for a while. We weren't comfortable bringing on maybe some guests for a time period. However, the voice is mostly back. So now we can get back to it. Our new year, new guest segment that we've started at the beginning of the year. I already had some great guests on, and we couldn't be more excited for who we're bringing on today.
Yeah, it's a topic that we love very much, and somebody who has some amazing knowledge and certainly a resource for people who love cruising, especially Disney cruising. And we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, we've been talking with him on social media for a long time, interacting. He sent us a magnet for our cruise door. We've sent him magnets for his cruise door. And we've just been trying to figure out a good time to do this. We finally got him here. We couldn't be more excited. Let's not hesitate any longer. Today, joining us, we have Chris, the DCL cruising dad. Chris, welcome to the Hyperion Adventures podcast.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to get to see you guys and talk to you for the first time.
Likewise.
Well, like I said, we've been interacting on social media for a long time
Years.
now,
Yeah.
and it's so good that we can finally work this out where we could bring you on to talk about something that we both love dearly, Disney cruising.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, that is near and dear to my heart. One of our favorite kind of family vacations that we take.
Nice.
Ours too. Ours too,
Yes.
right, Michelle?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. So let's talk about you first of all, you and your family. So were you always a Disney lover, and were you always a cruiser? Or is that something that's kind of developed over time?
Yep. So growing up, my family, we are born and raised in New Jersey, and we took a few trips to the parks. I do have some young photos of me in a stroller with a goofy hat on. So there were definitely some trips to the parks. And I have two photos in my photo album that my dad sent me a couple years ago. That in 1994 we went on the Royal Caribbean Sovereign of the Seas, and I do remember a few things from that sailing. Was one thing I absolutely loved: the kids clubs. And the second, which I remember because of the photo, is we had family matching shirts even back then, bright yellow
Wow.
with the family name on it, getting ready to go on a cruise. So I think growing up, a little of that kind of sent me into a path where once both started to merge, we started to find some family vacations. As far as Disney Cruise Line, our first sailing was back in 2014. I could be wrong, but roughly around then. And that was a 3 night on the Dream. My wife, Sarah, at the time worked for an IT company. It was a very small company. And as a thank you to the employees, they took their families and our families on a Disney cruise. My son, Jake, at that time, he was in the kids club, so I would say a little over 3 or 4, and I didn't quite know where we were getting ourselves into. Fast forward to 2018, we then grew our family to 4. My daughter Brooklyn, she was under 3, and that was our sailing that really I got to experience the Disney magic, seeing both the kids with so many character meet and greets. We went to Apollo dinner. Also on that sailing was my dad and his girlfriend, and my sister and her now husband. So that was a lot of fun. We did matching outfits for many nights for dinner, and really just got we were on the magic on that one back when she used to go to Key West. So that was just kind of what bit the bug, and then from then we've basically wound up hitting around. The Treasure was our 14th sailing, as my wife and I also went on our honeymoon on a Disney Cruise Line. So we're a couple more ahead of our kids, but it is basically the family vacation that we love and look forward to every year. It's been great seeing both my kids, Jake and Brooklyn, grow up through the kids clubs, with Jake now in Edge and Vibe, and Brooklyn still in the Oceaneers Club and Lab. So it's been a lot of fun just over the years, getting to make some magical memories, core memories. I always love using those. You'll probably hear me mention it quite a few times during our podcast. The Inside Out movie really hit home for me on the core memories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much struck all of us who have
Yes.
fallen in love with Disney cruising. Is it those memories, family time, adult time quite often, but there's just so much magic aboard them, and just so many memories that we take it to heart, and we can't wait to relive them on the next sailing. So you go on these cruises, and at some point you decided, you know what, I'm going to start sharing this with the world. You developed DCLcruisingdad.com, an excellent website for those who maybe are looking for some more information for your next Disney cruise. How did you go from being just a cruiser to deciding to start this amazing website?
Yep. So in the fall of 2022, we went on the Wish for the first time, and at that time, I'm very OCD. I have a lot of to-do lists for packing, a lot of to-do lists for questions and answers that I've collected over the years, and I honestly loved going on Facebook and answering as many questions as I could for both our cruise. Facebook group and just the general ones that are out there. And my wife gave me the idea, hey, you should really start a website. So I put everything together. I had no clue how to run a website. I'm a pharmacist, not extremely IT savvy, and I kind of learned on the fly. So first website I built, we kind of had to redo it because of the amount of photos I was putting on there. So by March of 2023, DCL Cruising Dad was officially a launch, and has been growing since then. One of my favorite parts of the website is my menu section. I love taking photos of food. That's one thing that my family always jokes about. Can't touch the plates until Daddy has his photos done. Um, so that's one thing that I've really expanded on over the years. That almost every dish that's offered on the rotational dining, I have a photo of. Disney likes to reuse a lot of uh, uh, dinners and entrees and appetizers on multiple menus. So when I made a nice database of the collection of photos, I was able to put together a real good amount of previews of what you would possibly see on your sailing, even a couple photos over the years. And it's funny how the plating doesn't change or has changed. Um, so that's one of my favorite parts of the website. And now my second favorite would probably be the first time cruiser or basic information page that has about 20 or 30 hyperlinks where I talk about home ports, Disney ground transfers, which I'm a huge fan of. We talk about the website and just so much more. So that if you're planning your first cruise or your 50th, there's still some little pro tips that you could find sprinkled throughout the website.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was something that really captured my attention is the amount of really useful information and helpful information you have for first time cruisers and the way you lay it out, categorizing it and everything. It's really an easy reference to go to and say, okay, I want to know more about this, but it's done in a way that it's not like overwhelming. Like some sites you go to, it's like, okay, TMI. I just don't know where to start. And I think that's where you've really captured the essence of what a new cruiser needs is here's what you need to start, but it's not going to be overwhelming to you and it's going to be helpful. And then you're going to be able to hit the ground running as soon as you board. So
Thank you, thank you. That's music to my ears. I'm glad to hear that. I always worry if it's user friendly. You never know, but yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
sure.
And we were going through it earlier today, and it was just like, yeah, it was laid out so easily, between past trip reports, all the photos, the menus. I was perusing because we were watching the magic of the Disney Treasure just a little bit ago, and getting excited for our next chance to get on the Treasure, and we'll talk about that momentarily here for you since you've experienced it already. But I was excited to see the menu for the Haunted Mansion parlor because that's one of the things I'm really excited about. But it's all there now. Have you been aboard every Disney ship, or are you still? Is there still one that's kind of not quite made it to you're in within your grasp?
Yep, the wonder unfortunately still eludes me. I definitely have talked to the family about a future Alaskan sailing once the kids are a little older, because I also know how not necessarily challenging, but exhausting the port adventures are versus your typical beach day on a Caribbean sailing. So I wanted the kids to be a little older, and I also wanted to have a higher status to get those port adventures that are very, very hard to get. So the wonder does still elude me. I've contemplating many times flying out to the West Coast with the family for a quick 3, 4 night Catalina Ensenada kind of sailing, just to really get to experience Tiana's restaurant on there. I've heard phenomenal things about that. Just like on the Magic Tangled, is an awesome, awesome restaurant for the show, and the menu is quite delicious. So, unfortunately, the Wonder is the one that still eludes me, and but I will make sure to eventually get to sail on her.
Excellent.
Yeah, we can tell you. We have not sailed Alaska on Disney yet, but we have sailed Alaska on other cruise lines. And man, once you get there, it's amazing. Your family's gonna love it. Disney will do it right for your young ones there. They'll take care of them, make sure that they're interested, even though it's not the beach day. It's you're not. It's not the exact usual activities. There's just something super magical about Alaska, and I think once you can get there, you're gonna enjoy it. And you're one step away from being platinum, so that status, you're right there, right?
Yes, yes, yes. We are there.
I know how exciting that is. It's kind of we're getting close to that. What we're two away now, I think.
Two
So
away from two away from Pearl for
Pearl.
us.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
which
yes.
is
Yeah.
like super exciting.
Right. Yes.
Well, for Michelle, I have to say, I'm not at Pearl. Michelle started Disney cruising way before I did. I'm not there, but we're almost there, and we're going to be more excited about it. But yeah, so let's go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I think it's time that we start looking at your experience on the Treasure.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
let's get to what everybody's waiting
yeah.
for to hear
I
about.
Yes,
mean, that
yes.
is the newest ship. I think it's gotten a lot of great publicity out there and reviews. It has a lot of excitement that's different from any of the other cruises. And so we're let's start by what was your first impression once you got on that ship?
Well, we waited a very long time to get to board the ship. Well, before we sailed out of Nashville to Orlando, I glanced back at some old emails. So I booked our March sailing back in September 13th of 2023. That's how long I had this had her booked. I remember, I think that was opening day for our Castaway Club status. So I was ecstatic. I kind of felt like my knowledge of Disney Cruise Line grew up as the Treasure aged to her maiden sailing. So if I called her like my first child or anything like that when I was explaining it to my family, I was looking forward to almost like basically taking them on their own Imagineering tour and going through each lounge and all the little hidden Disney secrets and tricks in each one of those. So I could not wait. We flew out of Nashville, got into Orlando the day before our sailing, like everyone should do. Do not fly in the same day of your cruise. Always go in the night before. And we typically will go to and stay at the MCO Hyatt right there at the airport. Reason why we do that is it kind of saves on either renting a car or another transportation from the airport to our hotel, and also gives us the opportunity to use Disney Ground Transfer, which I'm a huge, huge, huge component of. Whether you're a first-time sailor or you just want to have something nice and easy, basically on your embarkation morning, I'm able to leave our luggage tagged in our room. They'll come around and pick it up after 8 o'clock. They've one thing that really has set the Hyatt away apart from such as staying at the resorts or anything like that is honestly uh, the check-in ability. So at the Hyatt now, which I absolutely love, is you actually do a full check-in. So based on if you're staying concierge or your castaway castaway status, you have a certain time to head down to the lobby. You head down as an entire family with all your documentation, the number of bags in your room, your hotel room, and basically you go through the entire check-in period there at the hotel. They'll then give you your bus and your bus time, and basically you then hop on the bus, just go through the little security at the port, and then you are either waiting or walking right onto the ship. So I highly, highly recommend it. And also another little pro tip about using Disney Ground Transfer, because they automatically assign you a boarding group, which is typically between 3 and 6. If you are a first-time Disney cruiser, gold, or even silver, maybe you just missed your check-in period and you have a very bad boarding group. If you use them, you'll be getting on the ship much, much earlier. So that's my little ease of how we kind of always go into our sailings on Disney Cruise Line out of Port Canaveral. So now we're at the port, all checked in, got connected to the Wi-Fi, and we are now getting onto the ship. And my family and I are absolutely blown away by the Grand Hall. It is just stunning with the deep blues, greens, golds, the beautiful carpet, and then you look up at the glorious chandelier. That is one large chandelier with 6 smaller chandeliers built in, and you're looking around, and each of the smaller chandeliers has a little silhouette. And as you learn more and more about the ship, you realize those 6 smaller chandeliers have to do with the 6 ships that are currently in the fleet. And you're just taking it all in, and you're just so excited to be on the ship. And I was absolutely just my breath was taken away. I mean, I loved walking onto the Wish and just looking around, stopping in the atrium, in the Grand Hall, looking around. Did the same thing on the Treasure, just absolutely breathtaking and stunning. I could not wait to come back when it was less busy in the morning, where you get to really look at the carpet and all the little intricacies that they did. When I think of comparing the Wish and the Treasure, I feel like the Treasure is a little more masculine than the Wish is more enchantment. So it was really right up my alley with those beautiful colors. My wife and I kind of described it as comforting, therapeutic. It was just priceless.
Nice.
So obviously, that's a pretty glowing report right off the
Yes.
get-go for the Disney Treasure. Now, aside from the Wonder, you've been on every other Disney
Mhm.
cruise ship to this point. I wonder how the Treasure, I'd like to know your opinion on how the Treasure compares to some of those other ships, especially the Wish, since it is another Wish class ship. I know there was some criticism, or maybe some people that maybe weren't hugest fans of the Wish as compared to the Dream, the Fantasy, maybe even the Magic and the Wonder. I'm curious on what your thoughts are comparing the Treasure to some of these other ships you've been on.
Yeah. So I think the Treasure as a ship overall, I know, like you said, the people some struggled with the Wish change. As Disney fans, we hate change and love change. It's a double-edged sword. We call for it, but then hate it when it happens. So I think if you were to look at the fleet as a whole, it almost seems like Disney learns a little from the first ship in the class. So the Magic and the Dream and the Wish, that the second ones in the class, the Wonder, the Fantasy, and the Treasure, are just that much better. Like they've made all the slight corrections that they could, besides major renovations, which they probably would never do within the same class of ships, but they just took it up a little more. I mean, you could really tell where the Wish lacked in being made during COVID, and maybe some of the restrictions that were there, that all the end pieces, all the artwork, all the little things that's on the Treasure, they really hit it out of the park. I mean, there's this massive Moana moss painting. I wouldn't even call it painting, artwork that has 3 different kinds of moss on it, and you could smell it. They water it. They trim it. It's just breathtaking. You see it in one of the stairwells as you get close to Marceline Market. So I feel like the Disney Cruise Line as a whole learns a little from those first ships in the class and just makes those second ones that much better.
That makes me that much more excited because we're booked next. Well, not next, but coming up on the Destiny. So if the second one's better, the third one's got to be
Yeah.
hopefully even that next step,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Well, especially since we've heard, this ship has so many nods to the theme parks, etc. And I'm not trying to steer your answer to this, but were
Hmm.
there any lounges, restaurants, or any of the entertainment that really surprised you? I know there was a lot that was out there before you actually got to go sailing, but was there anything in particular that was like an aha or just really a surprise moment for you or your family?
Mhm. Yep. I would think, we have been on other 7 night sailings on the Fantasy, and I don't remember this much offered every day on the ship. As far as everyone's kind of heard a little about Sage and Coriander, these outstanding improv treasure seekers that no matter what they're doing, I highly, highly recommend going and getting to experience. Also, one thing that I thought was really interesting on this sailing was because it was a long sailing, we pre-booked the unlimited photo package, and so every night, basically in the grand hall, 3 or 4 times, there were tons and tons of different magic photos, just photo opportunities that I've never seen that you really could get your money's worth as far as getting that unlimited photo package. You do save about $50 pre-booking it before you get onto the cruise. And also, if you weren't able to ever get to those and you're like, Chris, I only have 5 photos and it's 200 and something dollars, you can always go to Shutters and cancel it or downgrade the package also. So I always just book it and then just see how the sailing goes. So overall, I think the photo opportunities was something, and then just overall the entertainment offering. There was a couple things that we never got to experience before that we experienced on this sailing. One example was an Encanto celebration that I thought was absolutely outstanding. I could not recommend it more. I'll talk more about it later. We also saw a magician, a ventriloquist. We saw most of the Broadway shows. One thing that was interesting on the sailing is typically they'll offer the Broadway show once, uh, and then on the off nights they'll offer some extra entertainment. Well, on our sailing, both Beauty and the Beast and the Tale of Moana were actually offered 2 consecutive nights. So one night they would also offer the magician or the ventriloquist, and the second night they would they would basically have a repeat of the Broadway show to hopefully kind of die down some of the crowds. Now, did that work? I don't know. It kind of also replaced the matinee. Sometimes on C days around 3 o'clock, they would have that show. They did not offer that at all on the sailing. So I'm kind of wondering if their feedback, if they found it kind of helped control the crowds a little by doing it like that. Another thing that I got to experience for the first time was a Broadway visiting artist. There was two from they were on Lion King, both Simba and Nala, and their voices. They basically sung a bunch of Disney songs for about an hour, and their voice was outstanding. Like I could not believe and highly recommend if anyone sees that on their Navigator or Broadway visiting artist. It was outstanding. So I think overall, I was really surprised by all the offerings. I mean, you could really run into some serious FOMO every day if you did not sit every morning and look through your Navigator app and try to plan out your day. A lot of times, one thing I love about the app is if you heart something in the app, it will actually send you a reminder if notifications are turned on your phone about 15 minutes before it starts. Therefore, you can kind of decide, hey, I'm enjoying funnel vision or some ice cream with my family. Do I want to go to this trivia or not? So overall, I was really impressed with all the offerings on the 7 night sailing.
Nice.
Chris just here dropping knowledge left and
I
right.
I
know.
try
Tips
to
on
I try to
photos.
give little pro tips here
Yeah,
and there
Love it.
to help people make their lives make their sailing a little more magical.
I love it. I love
Excellent.
it, and I love the fact that this was for your sailing, and I hope they continue that, and I hope Disney continues that because I'd much rather have the shows, especially on a 7 night cruise. Now, obviously, 3 night, 4 night, whatever, it's going to be pretty contained within what you have. But on the longer ones, I'd much rather have an opportunity to see a show on a different night because maybe you have a Palo dinner, or maybe you're going to Remy
Mhm.
or Enchante or whatever it might be. And you're like, oh, but I'm going to miss this show that I really want to see. But I had to book this thing, way off in advance, 120 days in advance. So, what do I do? Because I really want to see this show. The fact that it'll be open for 2 nights possibly gives you much more opportunity. So I like that. I
Yeah,
like that
very
Disney's
cool.
doing
Very
that.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really, yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it.
So you talked about. I want to hear about Coco. What did you feel about Plaza de Coco and the dinner show there? How did that compare? I know you've been on the Wish
Mhm.
to the Arendelle show. How were the sight lines and how was the show and the food in general?
Yeah. So overall, I definitely agree with a lot of the talk out there that the sight lines have been improved. They're not completely, there's not completely a bad seat in the house, but there definitely are bad ones. There is a large tree, but they did move the serving stations to basically the outside of the restaurant. Therefore, there are better seats, and also the way the tables are set up, I do feel like you can see pretty much the stage from everywhere. As far as the volume of the music, it's definitely much quieter than it was for Frozen. So especially the first night, I felt like the music was more of a background music. The second night, when we got to the final song, I forgot the name of the song in Coco, but everyone was singing it and having an absolute blast. So I feel like there really is a lot less bad seats, if that makes sense. As far as the music, it is beautiful having the art the musicians go around, play awesome songs and sing. It really is. It is great, and like I said, it's not too loud, so you can talk over everything. The first night we ate there was, I would say, a little more hectic, and I think is because everyone's so excited to try the menus that we were our seat wasn't great. We actually were quite close to the bar, and there was not a there was never not a line for the waiters and the staff to pick up drinks. Like, I felt like that kind of slowed down the whole entire day, the whole entire meal. But everyone was super excited. Everyone's getting the Dante straws, the cocoa skull sippers. Everyone's getting the drinks, trying the Mexican Coke. So I could definitely tell that they were very overwhelmed the first night versus the second night. They kind of upped the number of bartenders. They had a couple, not necessarily cruise directors, but staff in the whites kind of
Mhm.
uh, helping, running, moving stuff. So I feel like they definitely learned from that first night and kind of got better on the second night. Now the food on the second night I thought was outstanding compared to the first night, but both nights were still absolutely delicious. For the first night, there was a street corn croquette that was an appetizer that I felt like I could probably eat 15 of them if I wanted. Um,
You can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have not been able to eat after that. Now, I did love that both nights there was chips and salsa to start your meal. You can't go wrong with that. As far as some other great entrees, I know there was a sea bass one night that we really loved. There was a carnitas that you got to make your own little tacos. But overall, the food was outstanding. I thought the seasoning was on point. I know some people early on or in the preview cruises didn't think there was enough seasoning. I think they kind of dived back in and definitely added a little extra. And the desserts were outstanding. That's where you'll find the churros. There was a creme brulee cheesecake. There was some rice pudding, some flan, and the sundaes were outstanding. So I felt like both nights they're definitely a do not miss. Don't book any Palo or Enchante on those nights. Um, so that was really nice. And the other thing I really loved is when on the sea day, my daughter and I kind of walked down that very long hallway to get to it, and there's just so much beautiful artwork from the movie. In fact, while we were getting ready, before our first night in Plaza de Coco, we actually watched Coco. Highly recommend it either before you get on the cruise or while you're getting ready, just to familiar yourself with everybody in the family and all the little intricacies from the movie. They had some beautiful alebrejos down the hallway. They had lots of shoes, homage to the family. Just spend some time walking up and down that hallway. They have even some music lyrics on the wall. Just absolutely gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job with that restaurant.
That's
Wow.
cool. That's good to hear.
I know. It sounds amazing.
Coco's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Very excited.
Well, we know this is, being a new ship, that in itself brings a lot of excitement. But from your description here, we can really tell this was a special cruise. So,
Mhm.
what made that cruise so special for you and your family?
Yep. So in reference to the 14 Disney Cruise Line sailings we've been on, when we were leaving, my family and I talked, and I labeled this as our top third, our number three sailing with Disney Cruise Line. With the first one being our my honeymoon and my wife's on the Fantasy, and then the first one with our full family in 2018, and this would be right number three. And one of the things that really made this um, sailing special was the port adventures. In the past, when we've done 7 nights or we've done Caribbean sailings, we're big beach families, love going and experiencing a new beach, getting to try some of the local food. On this one, I've on another podcast, I heard about this special port adventure that's offered in Cozumel only through Disney. Uh, that I was super, super excited. It was the first thing on my list that as soon as my booking window opened, I went, selected it, and I was really lucky to get it. It is called, let me give you the official name. And so it's the Alabreje Painting Workshop, inspired by Disney's Pixar film Coco, and that is CZ95. I always like giving the little mnemonics. It's always easy to go back and
Yeah.
find it and just write it down, and then go back and definitely book it if you get a chance. It's there was only 18 people, including my family, on the cruise, so I felt like it was a private tour, and it was actually two activities built into one. The first was the painting, and then the second was a Mayan cacao, basically chocolate tour that they talked about some Mayan culture, and we watched them make cacao, got to taste it, and then went to a gift shop. But just to take a step back and talk about the first half, so the when we got to the location where we're gonna do the Alabreje painting, they had about 15 pre-painted different kinds of spirit animals. What was really nice, our tour guide was with us. His name was Elemu. He was with us from the beginning all the way to the end, extremely knowledgeable. So when we got to the location, he talked about the two different kinds for about 15 minutes. We watched a little video to learn more, and also they had a couple there from the original family that started this whole thing, and we went up table by table, picked out what our spirit animal would that we wanted to paint. And what was nice was that they had a base coat on them already. So what we were really doing is just adding the accents or the multiple colors to them. Well, one fun tip that they told us was the more colors you add, the more powerful our spirit animal is. So we first got black and white. We worked on the eyes, and then they came over and added two colors at a time to our little a little easel, and painted more and more and more. And before you know it, 45 minutes went by really quickly, and all of our little animals are done. And the thing I loved about that is after they were done, they kind of put it on the air conditioner to dry, and we got to kind of tour the area, check out the gift shop, and if we were hungry, there were also a little taco stand there. But it was nice. They wrapped them all up, and then we carried them home. And that was one thing I didn't put in my luggage. I physically carried it home, and I was so thankful for that. Because when we got home, it's right now in our built-ins in our living room. Get to look at it every morning, all all the little spirit animals. So again, if you get a chance to book this and you don't want to do the dolphin excursions in Cozumel or a beach break, and or you have an artist in the family, I highly recommend this one. I could not be more positive about it. So then the second half, like I mentioned, was a nice walking tour, learning about the Mayan culture, how their homes are built, some of the plants, and learning about how they develop chocolate. And that chocolate was outstanding. We got to sample some of it in the gift shop.
Nice. Nice.
That sounds right up Michelle's alley.
I know. I'm like,
Painting an Alebrije, something, a nice little keepsake, and then to get some amazing chocolate. That's like Michelle. And we may have to look into that next time we get to Cozumel.
Yeah.
Which actually, we are going to Cozumel
Yeah.
here coming up here in August. So maybe we'll have to look into that.
No, for sure.
Very good. Again, Chris dropping knowledge,
I know.
more knowledge. So this was obviously, since you went to Cozumel, this was a Western, a 7-night Western,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Western.
Yeah. What other excursions did you do, and how do you go about the process of picking out like what excursions are the best ones for you and your family?
Yep. So with this sailing, that was Cozumel, Grand Cayman, a tender port, Falmouth, Jamaica, and then Castaway. And those were basically 3 days right in a row. So originally, I did have 3 excursions booked. We wound up dropping the Falmouth one just in case we were going to be a little exhausted, and we decided just to kind of get off the ship and explore the port. And the Grand Cayman one, we kind of went back and forth with it being a tender port. Some of the port adventures start a lot later, and you're basically in port a lot shorter. So we actually found one that I would also highly recommend. It's called the Exclusive Sneak Peek to Grand Cayman Highlights. It's G79. Bingo for anyone that wants to know. So that basically was 3 or 4 stops, including including lunch, where we got on a really nice air conditioned bus. It had to be like brand spanking new. I couldn't believe how nice it was. And our tour guide Nick, extremely knowledgeable, talked about all the different things that is offered to Grand Cayman. Had a great knowledge about all the hurricanes and how the island has changed before then and after then. So much knowledge that he dropped. The island was originally called Turtle Island. Before Hurricane Ivan, there was 2 massive chicken farms on the island. After that, all those chickens got out. So now there's actually a 1-to-1 person to chicken ratio on the island. Like a fun little knowledge like that. He said there's over 800 banks on the island. It was great. He had so much knowledge, and he has a lot of fun. We stopped at a little place for lunch where they offered both a chicken and a fried fish with macaroni salad, rice and beans. And let me tell you, the fish was outstanding. It was, you knew it was fresh, lightly fried, little breaded. You don't need like tartar sauce and cocktail sauce, all that stuff that we put on fish here to cover up the flavor. It was outstanding. And I definitely wanted seconds if we had time. It was delicious. After that, we went to an ocean view blowhole, basically, that we all got to go out and take photos with. We then drove to Starfish Beach. What was really nice about the beach was it did have really nice bathrooms and changing rooms. So we wore our bathing suits, but we were able to kind of get changed out of them after that. And they talked about you could pick up the starfish, but you can't take them out of the water. And there was tons there. I have some great GoPro video footage of that. Probably picked up 15 to 20. Just had to be knee deep in the water. That was a lot of fun. But really, the tour guide is what made it special. Just his knowledge of the island. And funny thing, we had a bunch of Canadians with us, and they were super excited for the Tim Hortons that just opened up on the island.
Tim Hortons?
We actually stopped on the way back and all got donuts and coffee.
That's
So
great.
it was hilarious. But and the thing that made the tour really, like I said, was the tour guide. And it was supposed to be I want to say 4 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, and by the time we got back, we got one of the last tender boats. Like
Wow.
he kept us out the whole time, whole time. It was excellent. Highly recommend that excursion. I know you can't request Nick, but I would think that some of the other tour guides are great. And make sure if you do go on these port adventures and you do really enjoy the tour guides, please take care of them. They really appreciate it. We basically spent the whole day with that guy.
Wow.
Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, and it was fun. Like on the past, I don't really remember ever being on a tender boat. So it was really fun being able to kind of watch the ship as it kind of goes away and kind of getting towards it versus getting off it at the port. I know tender ports are plus and minus based on
Mhm.
the weather and stuff, but it was fun to kind of get to see the ship at a distance from another boat. So it was just a great experience, just overall awesome day. Um, and then with Jamaica, we wound up just getting off and kind of exploring the port. It is a nice little fenced-in area that had some awesome shops. We got some great coffee. Got some great jerk seasoning that we brought home to make some food here. And then they have also a awesome I Heart Love locket wall that's right there in the middle of the port. And
Oh,
one thing that I loved about it is that if I went behind the wall, because the wall was see-through with all the lockets, is I was able to get a photo of the funnel on the cruise ship through the heart of the wall. So my little photography love, I was really excited for that. It's one of my favorite photos from the sailing. We originally did have a beach excursion that we actually did 3 or 4 years ago that I would recommend. The food was awesome on the excursion. I thought we might be just a little tired, or honestly, might have wanted another sea day to get to explore the ship. I knew there was going to be so much that we wanted to see and show everyone on the ship that I was like, let's just take it easy, and we went from there.
well, Chris, I know on your website a couple weeks ago when I was looking, you cover a lot of information about, making decisions on excursions and everything. I know you even talk about the pros and cons of going with, for example, Disney versus
Mhm.
outside. But share with us and our listeners, like, what is your approach of, okay, you've got this Disney cruise book now. What is your approach to just kind of start to know what you want to look at and process of eliminations of maybe things you don't want to go on?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I evaluate. I try to look back and see how long the ship is in port. If it's going to be a short day in port, or also I also look at the length of driving from the port to where the excursion actually is going to take place. So let's say we had a 4 hour excursion, but you're on the bus 1 hour each way. So I'll kind of evaluate. The length of time that we're in port and how long the port excursions are. And I also will know what my family likes to do and doesn't like to do, or what we want to experience for the first time. As I mentioned before, we enjoy beaches. I'm a foodie. I love trying new food. So I try to look for ones that maybe include a lunch or have the ability to purchase local food while we're there. I also look at the number of consecutive days or number of days in port during our entire sailing. So, as I mentioned, this was 3 consecutive days, right in the middle of 3 port days. So I knew if we were gonna cut one out, you either cut the middle one or the last one, so that you would get some rest. Another thing that I look at, so I also look at Viator to also see what um, excursions that are offered that are super popular in the area. So you'll look to kind of see if Disney has one like that, or if it's just through a private tour. Some people also look at the number of people in the party. So some excursions are basically prohibitively expensive through Disney. If you have a party of 6 or 8, that you're better off booking the same thing through a private tour would be cheaper, and it's just your family. Also, age restrictions. Disney sometimes starts at 3, sometimes starts at 0, sometimes starts at 6, 8, 9. Each port excursion is a little different. So if you have those young kids that you wanted to take them somewhere and you just can't through Disney, then you have to find another way, which could be Viator. Uh, One thing, of course, with booking an excursion outside of Disney, there are some tours that do have a guarantee to get you back to the ship. Not necessarily meaning that they'll hold the ship, but they will get you to the next port to get you back on the ship. Or if you book through Disney, there is always that guarantee. Like I mentioned before, it's not necessarily going to be that they'll hold the ship for you, but they will get you back to the ship, whether they have to fly you to the next port or get another boat or something. So that's a huge difference and benefit of booking directly through Disney versus Viator or a secondary like a TripAdvisor or something like that. Now you do pay for that. Typically, an excursion through Disney Cruise Line is typically a little more expensive than through a third party, but there's that guarantee that helps you sleep at night. So those are some of the tidbits that I like to look at. Also, sometimes all the excursions that are on Disney Cruise Line's website are not always offered on your sailing. So I will typically try to come up with 3 to 5 and numerically order them based on what I think is going to be best for our family, so that when my booking window is open, I'll know, okay, hey, number one's not there. Number 2, no. Okay, 3. Okay, well maybe I'll just book this and we'll kind of go back and evaluate it. I always check back. Disney's always adding more, or people cancel excursions. So something that you wanted might not be there when you book. So always check back. I have a basically almost do that every day, especially for cabanas too. Always look every day. So that's kind of my tips and tricks with the port adventures overall. Just looking at the number of ports that your cruising is going to stop at, how long you're in port for, how far the trip is from the port on the excursion, because you don't want to be spending half your time just on a bus or open taxi or anything like that. So but those are some of the tips and tricks that I narrowed down the port adventure offerings for cruises. But a lot of times also just staying on the ship can be an amazing day too. Don't feel like you always have to book something. Sometimes just sleeping in or just watching some funnel vision while the kids are in the pool and eating unlimited soft serve ice cream is the best port adventure day you could have. Or
For sure.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to that stage a lot now, being that we've sailed a lot of the Caribbean. Forget it when we're doing like Nassau. Well,
I
it
know.
seems like more and more people have realized I don't need to get off in Nassau anymore. It used to be that would be the day where you would get some, nice quiet time around the pool, because most of the people out, even most people now, they're like, nope, not so much anymore. But yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes when you're hitting port, you need that day, if there's nothing that calls out to you, to just kind of enjoy the ship. Speaking of enjoying the ship, let's go back to it a little bit more, because I want to know a couple more things.
yep.
The Haunted Mansion parlor.
Mhm.
Did you visit it? What were your thoughts on
Yes.
it?
Yep. So we actually visited a couple different times. We It doesn't really start until 5 o'clock, and it is family friendly, I believe, until 9 o'clock. So, if you have little ones or teenagers or anyone that wants to experience it, know that it is open to family until around 9 o'clock. We got to. I took my daughter wanted to walk around one day. She had this awesome little Stitch costume. So we walked around, and she was like, "Hey, let's go in here." I was like, "Absolutely, absolutely." So they weren't quite open yet, but they kind of allowed us to come in and see before they kind of put all the magic on. So I kind of got to talk to her a little about some of the wallpaper and the awesome fish tank in the middle. And then once it turned over at 5 o'clock, my wife and I and Brooklyn came back, and we got a table and we got to sit down, tried 2 different drinks. We tried the one of their non-alcoholic sodas. It was like a Shivers lemonade, and we tried the Ghoulishly Delight, also another non-alcoholic, because we wanted the eyeball gummies. So we actually sat in there for probably about 30 minutes. The whole entire show will last around 45 minutes. So if you sit in there for 45 minutes, you'll get to see a little of everything as far as what happens on the walls, what happens in the mirror behind the bar, what happens with uh, the fish tank in the middle. It is absolutely stunning. It is a lot of fun. You just sit back. There's no bad seat in the house. And in fact, if you're able to go there a couple different nights, I would highly recommend actually sitting in a different seat because you'll get to hear different things, get to see different things. It's awesome. All the paintings, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. And it was nice. They did not sell out of all their tiki mugs. I was able to see that even till our last C day, which was uh day 6. They still had tons and tons of mugs, which I thought was really nice because I've heard on other sailings that by day 2 sometimes they are sold out of it. There is going to be a huge demand for getting into that lounge. There were some real long lines at 5 o'clock. So if you're able to hold off till maybe day 4, day 5 on your sailing, those lines really die down, and you could just walk in and grab a table or even sit at the bar. There's no bad seat in the house. And there's also a nice little hidden menu inside the on the iPad there. If you turn it from longitudinal to perpendicular, and then if you're able to change some words, and you get a nice little hidden drink. So there's a lot of fun,
Cool.
a lot of little tidbits inside that place. You could easily sit there for hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
it sounds amazing. I'm very excited to get to experience that for ourselves. So I think you answered my question a little bit there, but I was curious about it because I figured as soon as this was announced that this was coming to the Disney Treasure and later to the Disney Destiny, I knew it was going to be a super popular place. People love the Haunted Mansion. It
Mhm.
sounds like from what you said that it was a little busier one earlier in the evenings, but also
Mhm.
later on in the cruise that maybe people had already had their chance to experience it and maybe you could get in there a little easier later on. Was that what you experienced?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Earlier on the sailing, especially our first sea day, the line to get in there was all the way down the hall, almost as long as getting into the tail of Moana. And then as you got through your cruise on our Jamaica day or even the sea day after that, you basically could just walk right in. So definitely, if you're able to wait a little towards the end, or if you got a rope drop, get in the line super early. It opens at 5. You'd be getting there at 4:30.
Really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm
I
just
know.
so
I
excited
know.
for that lounge. I'm just such a huge Haunted Mansion fan that it's just, oh man,
Yep.
that's thrilling. That's
They,
thrilling.
they definitely did that right. I've definitely heard from a few people that some of the Imagineers kind of worked overtime to get it to what it is, and you won't be disappointed. They really hit it out of the park.
Well, I know, and also that's in the same space as on the Wish, where the hyperspace lounge
Hmm.
is, which I've
Yep.
been in. And while it's fun, maybe they didn't capture Star Wars the way we would have liked to have seen them capture Star Wars. Sounds like they really did that with the Haunted Mansion parlor for sure.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I think all the lounges they did on the Treasure outstanding. I'm Skipper Society, based on the Jungle Cruise. Then you have Scat Cat Lounge based on the Aristocats, and then the Periscope Pub based on 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I mean, you could spend hours in each one and see all the little hidden gems that are there, and all these little hidden gems that I'm talking about. You learn by going on the Imagineering tour. It's a tour. Basically, you sign up for it. Doesn't cost any money, and you'll walk the ship with one of the cast members, and they will give you beautiful little tips about things all over the ship that you might not get to see in articles and might not know. So I highly
Wow.
recommend that tour. It's offered many times during your sailing. Doesn't cost any money, but unfortunately, it is only 18 plus, which I really, but I think that's because they go into the lounges or something. I don't know because I would have loved to brought my kids on it. But highly recommend it if someone's a huge Disney nerd and wants to learn about some of the little hidden gems. But I would say all the lounges are absolutely outstanding. Skipper Society was a blast. Just getting to read all the postcards on the wall, listening to the old time radio in the corner, and then they have this on the stage because they have a live music there. On the stage, there's wooden animals carved into the basically the frame of the stage, and all those animals are the animals that are in the Jungle Cruise. There's paddles there that have 55 and 71 on them, homage to Disneyland, Disney World, since it's a opening day attraction. So I mean, it's you could just spend hours just reading and learning, and it's just so much fun.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
Now, you said it was the Imagineering tour. I think we've done
Mhm.
similar tours on other ships. They call it the Art of the Theme tour. Is
Yeah,
it, did they rename it, or is that what it is?
yeah. They renamed it on this one. I know the Wish. It's like imagining the Wish or something. Yeah, it was called the Imagineering tour, or I think it was
Something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
But you basically went to onboard activities every day, and you could see it was offered multiple times, and you just signed up and got to learn.
Good, because
I feel like
we
almost
love
every
those.
ship they're gonna
Yeah.
they call it something different.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we love those tours. We find them
Mhm.
fascinating, and you learn so much. And
Yeah.
then we even on ships we've been on multiple
Mhm.
times, we will still go on them, we learn new things depending on who's your guide. They will point
Mhm.
out different things on each time we've done the tour, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. They are pretty cool. Pretty cool. Um, So, one of the things, and I know we're talking about the treasure, we're talking about excursion or port adventures.
Mhm.
And I know you've done many cruises and been exposed to many ports. Are there any ports for people who haven't cruised a lot or haven't cruised on Disney that if you're on a sailing that goes to that port, you say you gotta go, you gotta get off at that port and experience it, even though there's a lot of, like you said, still great things to do on the ship to stay on the ship. Are there some don't miss ports?
Yeah, I would say the two that I would not miss, which I feel is kind of an easy way to answer the question, would be Disney's private destinations,
Mhm.
Castaway and Lookout. I know there are some people that are like, oh, yes, stay on the ship and you will have a ship completely empty for yourself. But getting to experience both of those, I personally love looking at sailings now that are just going to those islands and Nassau. I mean, it's just and Castaway and Lookout are so different. We could spend hours talking about the difference, but they are just outstanding, and they are so different. The Castaway versus Lookout. Lookout, I
Mhm.
love the beach, the food, the sand is so soft.
Mhm.
And Castaway, we have such great experiences there. Some of the port adventures there with the stingrays and parasailing, eating at cookies, going to the family beaches. It's just there's so many great memories there. I love getting to Castaway and Lookout. So that would be, I think, my easiest answer to this question. The more challenging one, I would say, where to definitely get off. Where have we always gotten off that we've loved? Um, I mean, we've always gotten off at Cozumel. In the past, my family and I have done different levels of dolphin swims, whether it was the first encounter, waiting till the kids got a little older, and then did the dolphin swim, and now we did the Alabreje and the chocolate encounter. So I feel like Cozumel has been a huge port for us. So much to offer as far as ports themselves. I know everyone kind of bags on Nassau, but when Nassau redoing their port, having all those shops in that
Mhm.
fenced in area, I think they're building a water park now. You have the amphitheater. You have a little. I think there's even a little museum right there. There's a lot to do right in that little port area, and we liked Jamaica too. There was a lot of cool shops. Um, so I feel like if you're a shopper kind of person, those ports, because you don't have to take a bus somewhere to go shopping or anything like that. They're all right there. Is perfect. But to answer your question, I would definitely say Castaway and Lookout. Those are my two.
Mhm.
Get up early, get off the ship, and have an amazing family day.
Mhm.
Agreed.
I agree with you about
Agreed.
Nassau. That addition, that upgrade to
Mhm.
the port
Mhm.
there, really was nice, and it's great because you can also, if you don't want to do anything, just like you were talking about with Jamaica, if you don't want to necessarily go out and do an excursion, you want to spend some time on the ship, you can still go out and do a little exploring, maybe an hour, maybe two, come back and still have your, amazing time aboard the
Hmm.
ship when maybe there's a few fewer people
Right.
on board with you. So great point there for sure. As always, Chris
Yes.
keeps
Yeah,
dropping great
I
points.
know.
Um, we're getting close. We need to start wrapping this up because we've been talking to you, although we could talk to you forever about
Yeah.
all this
We'll
Disney
have to
Yeah.
cruising.
bring you back on another time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before we leave the Disney treasure, there's one thing we haven't touched on yet that I need to touch on, and
Hmm.
that is that Moana show.
Hmm. Oh
What were
yeah.
your thoughts on that Moana show? We've heard great things. It looks amazing. What are your thoughts on the new Moana show aboard the ship?
Yep. So we went the second night. The first night we went to go see the magician. So I was hoping that the lines for the second night might be shorter, but I was mistaken. I definitely when I got when we got to Walt Disney Theater, the line was all the way down past Skipper Society, which is that bar right there where the bayou is on the Wish. So it was definitely long lines on both of them. Once you do get in and you find a seat, the stage is just stunning. That has all the beautiful hand woven bamboo on there. Really just kind of sets the stage while you're waiting for it to start. And then Grandma Tali is excellent during it, and Moana does steal the show. She was outstanding. It's a lot of fun. She starts young. She's a little puppet, and then boom, before you know it, she's a full on adult, and there she is, kind of leading the way through the entire show. Another thing that is beautiful about the show is the actors and actresses are the water. So you get to see all this beautiful dancing. Also, Maui, great job. Very different than The Rock. Do not think it's The Rock. Very different. Puts his own spin on it. So very different, but. Moana was outstanding, and then the finale with the 13-foot Te Fiji puppet was just breathtaking. Like I could not believe how it ended, how her transformation was. I would just like to watch that 5 to 10 minutes again and again. It goes by so quickly, but they did an amazing job, and it's getting tons of positive reviews and accolades. Like it should be on Broadway. I know Playbill also did a great article on it. I found that online and read it, and it really is absolutely stunning. I was actually hoping that they would have the matinee and the 6 and the 8 o'clock, because if went to the matinee and loved it enough, then go after dinner. But with it being 2 nights, we definitely wanted to check out the different entertainment. But yeah, it is outstanding. It is outstanding. I hope that Disney continues doing these Broadway shows. I can't wait to see Hercules on the Destiny,
Hmm.
and also don't sleep on the last one on the Treasure, Beauty and the Beast. It is has easily been one of my favorites on all of Disney Cruise Line. So you really have two outstanding Broadway shows. And the first one, which is Disney Sees the Adventure, is a actually shorter one, only about 45 minutes, versus the other ones are usually an hour and 15. So if you're not sure if your kids are going to be able to make it through an entire show, go visit that one. Or also know that while it's playing in the Walt Disney Theater, you can watch them on your TV in your stateroom. So actually, our luggage did not show up until after dinner on the first night. So we actually watched Disney Sees the Adventure on our TV while we were unpacking. So that's a fun little tip and trick, just
There you
to
go.
let anyone
Perfect.
know, or especially if the young ones aren't going to make it. The adults don't have to miss out on the Broadway shows, but it really was outstanding and breathtaking. And that puppet, 13-foot puppet, is something to see. Really is.
Well, it's
Yeah.
definitely one of those things that I think Michelle would agree with me that sets Disney Cruise Line apart is that those shows,
Yes.
especially as Disney fan, they're all
Mhm.
spectacular. They've been upping their game for years now on those shows, and I feel like they've been upping their game on the talent behind the
Mhm.
cast. Like recently, some of the casts we've seen have been some of the most amazing casts we've seen aboard ships, and I think that's fleet wide. And it sounds like that from what your experience was as well, Chris. Am I correct on that?
Yes, yeah, I would absolutely agree on that. You hear some amazing vocalists, amazing artists. It's something to they definitely not miss.
Really cool.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
cool. Anything else, Michelle?
No, I mean, I was just going to say, for people to get a taste of this as well, they do have Nat Geo did a documentary on it that's now streaming on both Hulu and Disney Plus. So you can catch it there as well as on Nat Geo. But yeah, like you said, what you were talking about, the puppetry and things like that, it's really just impressive how they created those kind of characters to supplement the shows. It's really amazing.
Yep. Yep. Outstanding. Outstanding. They are definitely do not misses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you can get that on Nat Geo or on Disney Plus or on Hulu. But where you want to get the real information is from
Yeah.
DCLcruisingDad.com. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate, Chris. Your insight's amazing and your website's amazing. Tell everybody where they can find your website. I think I just mentioned it, but and where they can find you on social media as well.
Yep. So I'm on all the social medias as DCL Cruising Dad, one word. And then I have a YouTube channel, DCL Cruising Dad 2022, where I turn my photos into videos and I have it organized by each ship and basically each offering on the ship. So if you wanted just to see like Arendelle on the Wish, or you wanted to see Tangled on the Magic or anything like that, you don't have to watch an hour-long video. You could just watch a couple-minute video and just get exactly what you need. And then, yes, the website DCL Cruising Dad has tons to offer, has all the information about all the ships, has great food photos and great information for first-time sailors or even those sailors that have been 50 plus. So go check it out, learn something new, and come say hi.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I've been looking at your website for a while now, and it's just impressive how anytime I think of something, oh, I wonder if he covers this. Sure enough, it's there. And it's just super, like I said, the layout, how you can access it, the type of information, it's so helpful. I really, like you said, certainly if you're new to cruising or Disney cruising, but even myself, I know we've cruised a lot. I found a lot of great tidbits there that were pearls that I'm going to continue to use as we plan our cruises.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I also just want to thank you guys both for having me on, and also all your positivity into the Disney atmosphere. I always tell my wife, when I think it was your 500th episode, and you were taking some people's comments and stuff. I was super excited to write something in, and then I got to screenshot it when you said it. And I always tell my wife and my family, I'm like, I cannot find a photo of Tom and Michelle without them smiling. So just thank you for all that you guys do for the Disney community, and always being so positive. It's just uplifting, and it's great. I love listening to your podcast Sunday when they drop. So thank you for all that you guys have done, and it really wasn't an honor to get to talk to you both today.
Oh, thank you. That means so much.
Those are really, really kind words.
Yes.
We were honored that you were willing to send us something for our anniversary episode. We really
Yes.
appreciate that so much. And
And that you gave up
And
some
yes,
of your
I
weekend.
do rock your magnet with the Real Men Love Frozen. Yes, I
Because they
do
do.
put that up proudly.
As
So,
we all
thank you so
know.
much.
That's great. And
Yes.
we put your magnet on our door as
Yeah.
well. And proudly happy to have it. Really appreciate you sending this.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely check out his website. Believe me, it's really accessible. No matter what you're looking for, as Michelle just mentioned, you're going to find it easily. And there's great knowledge, just like you heard from Chris.
Yes.
I mean, it was laid out right there. This guy knows it. He knows his stuff, and it's all over his website. So please go check it out again, DCLcruisingDad.com. Chris, thanks for all the information. Thanks for teasing us more on why we need to find an actual sailing aboard the Disney Treasure soon. But thank you for everything. We really appreciate you being on the Hyperion Adventures podcast.
Thank you guys. It was an honor.